Hey guys, Gear here. So today we're doing another snap build review. So as you guys know, no paint, no stickers, no panel lining of any kind. But this time we're doing a Gunpla that was I was kind of meh about it when it first came out, and I'll explain why once we get into the review. But we're doing the G40 Gundam, the industrial design version. But yeah. We're just going to jump into this because it's easier to explain once we're into it than it is to explain right now. So, yeah, let's jump into it. Okay guys, so here we are at my desk. As you can see, we're back to the overhead pose. I got a new camera tripod and it actually works a lot better with this pose. So, back to something a little bit more easy for me to use because I know where the center is and I can, up and down, kind of easy to solve. That being said, we're going to jump into this review and yeah. So let's go over first what comes in the box. First thing up in the box obviously is our Gunpla. That's him there. Second thing that we get in the box is oop, hey, slide away, huh? Besides that is his shield, the two beam saber blades, his gun, a full 1.5 set of spare hands, and his sticker sheet, which he does have a very small sticker sheet. Oops, upside down, which is nice. But as you can see, unfortunately, that sticker on the end is the one for the yellow V that goes over the crotch, and I am not a fan of painting that, but I'm gonna have to on this one. Also in the box is obviously his instruction book, which is nice to see that they stuck with the same kind of theme they went with for the black box. It's nice to see they both kept that look. And then the last thing that comes in the box, and this I didn't know about and I kind of like it, is this. It's a design book. It goes over the challenges of like what they did with the Gundam. It has interviews from the people who made it. They're both in Japanese and in English, which is nice because you get a comparison there. But I mean, it's just a really nice book. It has a lot of like detailed notes where he took notes on things and updated them and just kind of kept it really, grounded, which is cool. I mean, it's really cool. There's even designs for the cockpit in here, which you never see in building the Gundam because there's no cockpit in it. But it's nice to see that they, thought ahead enough to show people what it would look like with their design. So that being said, let's get into this guy's his look, his color separation and whatnot. So as you can see, color separation is fairly decent. Like I said, the yellow V fin is a problem. The eyes themselves are recessed, so painting them will be super easy. And judging by the sticker sheet, I get my choice of colors between yellow and red, which I know technically I always have my choice of colors if I'm painting, but I try to stick as close to the anime as possible. I'll probably mimic the book and go with the red just because I got to do this part anyway, so I can kill two birds with one stone. That's another thing. This whole thing up here is supposed to be the sensor light, and yeah, I just not a fan of how that looks. But easy to fix with some paint. Like I said, the color separation though is fairly good overall, all the way around this guy. He's decent. Like even the soles of the feet are really well color separated in that aspect. There's gonna be a lot of little sections I gotta fill in and stuff like that. Things that I know should be black and whatnot, but I'm not expecting those to be filled in like when I buy them. That'd be ridiculous to expect them to have every nook and cranny already set up and ready to go. But there are some things like the V fin here, not the V fin, but the V emblem that they had separated in two parts on the Beyond Global that I wish they had done with this one, but it is what it is. Gotta make do with what I got. And as you can see, the tops of his hands are white. I don't know why they went with that. I mean, it wouldn't have been that hard to cast this whole little ball joint holder thingy in gray, but for some reason they did white. I'm not really sure why, but I'm probably going to leave it that way just because it kind of grows on you over time. As is this design. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the design, but it does grow on you over time. Since we're talking about color separation, we're also talking about how it looks. And I'm not a big fan of this look. I don't like the bubbly kind of aspect of the chest. I don't like the fact that the skirt is pretty much one solid piece once you get it built, because of these things having blocks that connected on both sides, plus no movement hinge inside the hip. But you know, those are things that are outside of my control. I can't do anything about them right now, but I can make him look as good as possible once I start painting. So that being said, let's go into his articulation a little bit, because when we talk about the articulation, we're going to have to talk about the gun and the shield and everything, and there's a lot there. So starting with the head. The head has some pretty decent articulation, even though it has this weird hinge joint in the back, plus articulation in the actual head that allows you to bring it all the way up, or take it to the right, or whatever. The fun part about this head having so much articulation is the fact that we can do one of these numbers with it. Every time I do that, I just think, a hook, a hook, a hook, a hook. I watched way too many cartoons as a kid, guys, okay? But it is fun. It's funny to me, and it makes me laugh, and that's probably important, given the state of the world right now. That being said, let's go into his chest. His chest has some pretty decent movement. It can go way up, although it exposes the inside parts. It can go down a little bit by lifting the back, and then right and left. And it has a really neat joint system inside of it that I thought was cool, which is what gives it all this articulation. Then as far as your arms go, all the way up is possible like that. You can even go higher with this with the hinge system they have in here. And then obviously, you know, turning it upside down, you can go all the way over. Like, if you do it right, let me see if I can get him to do it. I've been playing around with his articulation just to kind of figure out what he's capable of. Like, look, he's stretching. He's preparing for the Olympics, which is more than we can say for the rest of us right now. But so that's his arms. His arms are very articulate. These pieces here are kind of loose. They're like on their own little spin thingy, so they do provide, sorry, probably couldn't see it. So they do provide more posability there. And then there is another hinge inside the arm here that allows for some swivel action. So then getting down to our legs, like I said, all this is one piece, so it doesn't allow too much in the way of like up and forward until you take into account this section here in his undercarriage, where you can actually bring it out to give him more forward. And if that's not enough, there's another hinge located inside of his leg here. Let's see if I can get it to curve around, where you can actually bring it up even higher. Like, that's pretty impressive. And then it all just kind of slides back down and in together. And then on top of all that, as if that wasn't enough, there's also another piece in here where you can bring his leg even further down to give him even more capability. So I mean, he definitely has the posability. There's no real place where he doesn't. Like, even when you bend his leg backwards, normally the skirt in the back would get in the way, but he can kick his own butt. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Well, he could if the backpack wasn't in the way. So that being said, let's move further down to the ankles. The ankles are really kind of basic. This flap gets in the way a lot. But once it's not in the way, I mean, he can move them pretty good back and forward. And then left and right, as you can see. Like, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see it. It's not as easy as it sounds. And then on top of that, the foot even has some flexibility, because these parts here can actually pull apart a little bit to give him more flexibility in his toes. And both feet are like that, so you know, it's nice to have that flexibility. This part's coming apart on me again. This part does like to kind of separate a little bit, so you may have to glue it together if you're one of those people who, you know, go through and nitpick, which guess what, I am. I nitpick my own builds. It's okay. As far as the shield goes and mounting it to the arm, there is a little piece that sticks off. Let me see if I can get it closer to where you guys can see it. I don't know how it's looking, but it's right there. It's hard to see it, especially in that light, but down here you can see it easy enough. And it just connects into the backpack, like so, to allow him to back mount the shield like we always see in pictures. And you gotta be careful when pulling it out, because it does like to detach from the shield rather than the back of the Gundam. And then it also connects into the Gundam's arm, so that he can hold his shield that way too. So since I'm a big fan of wearing the shield upside down, I usually kind of try to do it upside down. But also with that, he does have this handle here for holding the shield, so that he can so you can put the hand on there and then put that on. He'll secure the shield in place when you do that. It also has a handle hidden away right here. Let's see if I can get it to come out, where he can grab it and hold it for like that straightforward kind of flying pose that we always see in like the trailers and stuff. I think they actually did it in the trailer for this guy, and it just looks really nice to be able to do that. The shield has like a concave design on the front, which I'm about as big a fan of this as I am of his chest. So there's that. He does come with 2 beam sabers and the rifle. And the rifle's kind of neat because it still has the typical movement here like we're all used to, and the movement here. But then they also included this kind of movement for the handle. So the fact that you can, bend the handle front and back is kind of nice. Overall, he's not a suit that I'd really want to have. Like, to me, there's 3 types of suits. There's suits I want to build, suits I will build if I get to that point, and then suits that I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. And he falls in the top of that second category. He's definitely one that I'll build if I get a chance, but I'm not going to kill myself to do it. Now, this time I jumped ahead and gotten done because I've already reviewed both the Gunpla Starter Kit version of Grandad and the G40. Or no, not the G40, the Beyond Global. So I wanted to do this one, the G40, just to, finish out the Grandad ones and talk about those, because he is different from them in a lot of ways. Some good, some bad, it just really depends. But overall, he's a pretty nice suit. I mean, not my top 10 by any means, just because I don't like the design, but I like a lot of things about him. So yeah, I like the flexibility, I like the posability, I like the fact that, I was playing around with him earlier and I got him to do this. Let's see if I can get him to do it for you guys. Well, maybe. But I like a lot of stuff about him. I just don't like the way his chest looks. The chest is what's killing me more than anything. I can make do with the skirt and the legs. Ta-da! It's the chest that makes it hard. But the fact that he can do a handstand, that he's so well balanced he can do a handstand and stuff, it's just really impressive to me. Yeah, like I said, definitely not one that I'd want to build like straight out the box, like right away. It's not like I saw him on the net and went, yes, that's the one I want to build. I was honestly more excited for the GBN version of Grandad, and I knew that thing was like bright neon. And I was still more excited about that than I was about this one. But like I said, he has a lot of good features, and it was neat to see the mechanics on the inside and to see somebody from the field that the gentleman who designed this one is in come up with this design. It gives you a lot of insight as to how they see Gunpla as well. So it's not a terrible loss. I did learn a lot from it. I got to see a lot of neat stuff with it. Like I said, it's definitely not in my top 10 suits, but considering I've only built like 4 Grandads, not counting my SDs and the Bear guys, I mean, he definitely, as far as the Grandad goes, he's bottom of the stack. But the Grandads tend to rank higher for me, so he's not my worst Gunpla. But like I said, definitely not something I'm extremely thrilled with. And it's just aesthetics. It's the aesthetics of him that really bothered me. Anyways, that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I have no clue what our next review will be. I still got a while before I have to decide that, because yeah, it's just whew. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I am going to get off here and start painting this guy, try and make him look somewhat better, I guess. Yeah, I guess better is the word. Anyways, you guys be safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you next time.